Evening, everybody. JC Tev is back with you for more hot conversations here on HOT. Heard on Thursdays, the show that made FM radio talk. It also makes you monsters listen and watch, especially now. We hope we can entertain you and help you deal with this messy time. Remember, we're also on Facebook Live, so if you're listening to us on air, you can check us out as well. Facebook.com/RX931. Also going live on YouTube and Twitch and on the RX931 website as well. This episode might even get you to sit down and write to deal with this messy time, the mess in your head, get rid of the ghosts. Now, many of you have actually been doing a lot of writing, tweets, posts, captions, comments, replies, and reactions, rants, and raves on social media. We've done it all throughout the last year. There are emotional outbursts, and they can be temporary relief, maybe some reprieve, even if they add to the noise. But there's a kind of that might be even more therapeutic because it's focused, it's thought of, and it's honest. Journal writing. Tonight's guest is an accomplished journalist, a writer, a newspaper and magazine editor, yoga teacher, actress, and devoted dog mother, among other distinctions, of course. She also conducts online writing workshops on style and grammar. Recently, she has also come up with a free workshop on journal writing for mental health, how to unload your anxiety and despair through purposeful writing. Because, as Alya quotes from the Diary of Anne Frank, I can shake off everything as I write, my sorrows disappear, my courage is reborn. Heard on Thursdays, journalist, writer, and editor Alya Honasan. And remember, you can call the Monster hotline at 863-19393 on my queue to ask questions, or you can post them on the Monster socials. Alya, good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. Wait a minute. I got to put her into the stream. There we go.
Hi. Hello. Should I do side view as well? Para we're
let's do it.
Okay. Hi, how are you? Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. I don't know what's going on in your life right now, but I'm sure you have a lot going on.
I just got vaccinated, so
you
know.
did.
Yes, today.
Congratulations!
See, I don't know. It's funny. I just posted. Why is everybody congratulating? It's something that's Jewish, dude. It's Jewish. Okay, yeah. Okay lang. But it's a good feeling. Although there's, I'm still waiting for side effects. But wala naman.
Yes. Okay, it's good to hear. So Alya, for a woman of many passions and pursuits, you seem to have a lot to occupy you during this quarantine. But I always ask my guests, besides doing your writing, your journaling, which we'll go into discussion and in depth, we'll go more in depth with that later on. Are you doing anything else? Are you watching Netflix? Are you watching any shows? Have you fallen to the K-drama curse?
No. I'm not a K-drama fan. I'm actually a BTS tita. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry, but I mean, I'm just saying sorry because some people might get shocked. But yes, I'm a BTS fan. They're very positive, so they're kind of fun to watch. Because I can't handle K-dramas; they're a little bit too involving for me. So that, and then I've been tripping on the free documentaries. You should trip on these free documentaries on YouTube. They have a series called "Great Art Explained in 15 Minutes." I don't know who runs it, but it's so much fun to just watch these things for free. But anyway. But actually, the workshops actually started during the pandemic, so that's why that came up during the pandemic. So because
Great, good to hear, and I'm sure a lot of our monsters out there, they're like, oh, there's free documentaries on YouTube.
Yeah, look for them. Just type free documentary.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I've been speaking of like short documentaries. I've been watching a lot of music documentaries, the making of certain songs, which Shaggy's Wasn't Me. I think it was created by Vice. Oh, it was so good. It's surprising how much content there is
behind the scenes.
In the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Alya, that being said, how has writing kept you focused and sane during this lockdown?
Well, I'm still a professional writer, so I still write articles. We're still working from home. We close pages. I'm a consultant desk editor for a newspaper, for the lifestyle section of a newspaper. So I still do that. But so I write articles and then I still journal. But this time I do journal online because my handwriting's terrible. So I instead of writing in those journals written down, I type it now on files, so it's easier to
Mhm.
access and stuff. But yeah, so I still write both professionally and to to let steam off, what this whole little workshop was all about. No?
Yeah.
There's a
I
lot
mean,
of
you
steam. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
you could be considered a professional writer because
Mm.
you know you're accomplished. You've been an editor among other
Yeah.
things, and now of course you're giving workshops, which I can't wait to talk about in a bit. But
Hmm.
my question is, can anybody be a writer? Is this a talent that you have been just blessed with, or can anyone develop the skills to become a talented writer?
I think so. Part of it is discipline, you know. I mean, I think it's more in the creative writer. Some of them are just really born with a good way of putting words together. But that being said, if you don't have a decent vocabulary and you're not familiar with good writing, you might have a problem. So the
Mm,
only thing, when people ask me, how do I learn how to write? I just have one piece of advice. I ask people to read, especially young people. I've been reading since God. I don't, before I was reading adult stuff when I was like 7 or 8. So parang
nice.
it's just that you really have to read to be able to distinguish and find out what's good or bad writing. And then, learning about the style, you see it before you learn the rules. You see it applied. So
Right.
I think you can develop it. I think you can
Okay.
develop it. Yeah.
Oh, since you said that people ask you how did you learn how to write, uh, I mean how do I learn how to write? What how did you learn how to write? I mean what's your little origin story? Like let's pretend this is a superhero. You're a superhero of a writer. What is your origin story?
I think, well, basically that's it. I was reading a lot, but I think seminal was when I was 8 years old, and in first, no, no, not was that wasn't 8, 9. I think I was in third grade, and my father took my mom and me to Indonesia, to Jakarta, where I studied for a year, and then we had a family friend who had an entire library. So I didn't have too many friends. I left my friends in Manila for the year, but I devoured that library like mad. As in, like I said, I was reading adult stuff when I was 9. I was reading the entire Asia magazine series. I was reading, oh my God, the older authors like Harold Robbins. Actually, that's pretty adult, but stuff like that. They were all like volumes and volumes of stuff. I was familiar with Greek mythology by the time I was 9 and stuff like that.
Mm,
'Cause it's only because I read a lot, as in
right.
voraciously. So I think it's all sort of like I still remember who were the really good writers and who I'd like to emulate. So I just tried to put that in. It's not really that much of a superpower. I think it's just plain hard work. And my father was a reader, so he passed on a lot of books to me, much to the chagrin of my mother, who thought they had to be censored, some of them. But
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, he just
I,
let me read.
I beg to differ. I feel like it is, especially now. Let's say you said you were 9 years old when you were doing
Yeah.
that. I don't see many 9 year olds reading libraries, books from libraries in that volume.
Yeah,
In this day
yeah.
and age, I don't see it happening. I feel like
Yeah, I
a
know.
lost skill. It's a lost art. Actually, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask your thoughts on that. How do you feel about the, I guess the lack of book reading that's going on in the world right
Mm.
now? I think it's safe to say that we have been reading less books and maybe just reading more articles and short pieces online and
Yeah.
tweets.
Yeah, tweets in particular, dear Lord. No, but the thing is, because of that option, this option, of course, was not available when I was young. I'm 56 years old. So when I was really young, there was nothing. There were just books and magazines. And then because there's so many things to choose from, we always say now, if you don't catch your reader in the first couple of paragraphs, they're lost forever. No, they're not going to come back. They'll click something else or open something else. But there's so much joy in, like, getting to know a book and reading it. And not to offend anybody who primarily makes their living through online stuff, but because of the time frame, no, JC, people are in a hurry to post.
Mm.
There's no quality control. The grammar on the internet is atrocious. It's really crap. And then, I'm pardon my French. And then, even in some really good websites of some really supposed to be respectable newspapers and stuff, you spot typos and mistakes that really makes your heart ache, no? So I think I think once in a while, come away from your computer, grab a legit book,
Mm.
and bring it with you. Even if it's on Kindle, that's fine, or in your reader, that's fine, as
Your
long as
ebook.
it's a book. Yeah, your
Okay.
ebook, no? Yeah. So parang that would be nice. Don't just read short stuff, because it's nice to explore, and that's how you learn how to use words actually, di ba?
Mm.
So I really miss it. I really miss the days when. But you might be surprised. The world's best bookstores are still alive and kicking, I think. So
Mm.
yeah. When you
Yeah.
when you go to New York, the Strand is still always full of people in in Union Square. It's like, it's just a super super. Some people just love the smell. There's even a
Mhm.
name for it. I saw a meme for it. People just like sniffing the new book smell. It's so funny. Of course,
I'm sure.
the other half of you will say, "Stop cutting the trees and read electronically." But there's a romance to having an actual book. But depends
Yeah.
on as long as you read the book. Yeah.
But I guess I have to ask: do you do the social media? Do you dabble in the online writing slash reading? Do you enjoy any people who tweet at all, or
Oh,
or is it?
actually, because nga I tend to write longer, I stick to Facebook because I'm able to
Okay.
opine or read people's opinions. It's not too short. Tweeting is a little too short for me, even if you can tweet in like a sequence, no? So
Mhm.
it's a little bit much. So I had to choose between the three. I stuck to Facebook. I do Instagram once in a while, quite rarely if I have a really nice picture to share, but I post on Facebook on a very regular basis. A lot of it I call PSA, like public service announcements. Like, if the LTO in Cubao, it has no line, I post it or stuff like that. Or I found where to buy. Yeah, because people really in my age group and people who my friends would appreciate it. You can renew your driver's license in this LTO for less than an hour. Parang that's
Nice.
news, yeah. And I was
Yeah.
telling after my vaccination today, I was telling friends, if you live in Marikina, you're lucky because things are pretty organized. But yeah, things like that. Yeah, I favor Facebook actually.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep, yep, yep.
Among other things, Alia, you're also a yoga teacher, which I
Oh,
am very curious about.
mm.
How did you get into the yoga scene? Is that's something that's not as common? It's not common that I don't know how many yoga. I don't know any yoga teachers except for you now. But
Okay. We're
how
actually
does that?
quite a lot. We're actually quite a friend of mine joked before, well, in the States, that in San Francisco you can't throw a rock and not hit a yoga teacher. That's what they
Mm,
said about in San
really?
Francisco. But
In
no,
San
but
Francisco? Okay.
there's so many different kinds. But here in Manila, we're
Mm,
actually a very small group. I practice a kind of yoga called Iyengar, Iyengar. Well, off the bat, any yoga is good. Okay, I'm not gonna go out and tell you that
not
this is better
particular.
than others. So, but yeah, but I chose to practice this because it's more into precision, and we do stuff a little slower. You hold your poses longer, so we have beautiful headstands, I have to say. So it was in 2002, I believe, or I forget now. So quite a while ago, because I have advocacies. Like, I am an advocate for breast cancer because I survived breast cancer, and I'm an
Mm.
advocate for mental illness because I am a long time depressive. So that actually, I got into that, and I got off meds for 12 years because of my yoga practice. Because
Wow.
I was so stoked. I got into it. I trained to be a teacher. I was going to India every 2 years since 2006, which got interrupted by the pandemic. No, so I'm certified. I'm one of quite just a few Iyengar yoga certified teachers in the Philippines. We're on the international address book for the
Mhm.
Philippines. So yeah, that's a kind of specific kind of yoga.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yoga has actually developed a reputation. It sometimes has been perceived as kind of like a meme already, where
yeah,
yoga is so peaceful, and you're
yeah.
uh, and I guess for people who don't practice yoga like myself, sometimes I look at people who do yoga. I'm like, man, does that really clear your mind? Is it really, or is it just like, how does? So it really, in your case, I mean, based on your advocacies, it really helped you clear your head, the yoga, right? So
Yeah,
it's some
yes,
it's
I would say, yeah. But the thing is, the nice thing about Iyengar is that it's realistic. It doesn't tell you to negate your body to go on to a different level, no? Our
mm,
teacher who passed away in 2014, BKS Iyengar, said you have to work through whatever body you have. You go through your body. So you've got to master these poses a little bit before you can even begin to get into peace of mind, no?
mm,
So it makes a lot of sense instead of negating the body and trying to go, and conversely, no, especially the Western attack, it's really all body. It's all yoga body and yoga stuff and yoga socks and yoga mats and yoga. So yeah, I mean, it's a $1 billion industry, diba? The yoga
yeah,
clothes, diba? So yeah, it does because you have no choice.
yeah.
When you do yoga, you have to be right there, watching your pose, making sure you don't fall over. When you're in a headstand, you cannot think of your grocery list when you're upside down and trying to keep your balance. So
Mm,
it's a very good way to stay in the moment. So
yeah.
it's very educating. Actually, it changed my life. I mean, bottom line, it changed my life. So it's a big help, and we still try to keep teaching online. It's a different ball game to learn to teach yoga online when you're aching to fix somebody's pose, reach into the camera and adjust somebody's legs like that. But we've
Yes.
managed. We've kept it going. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. I was actually gonna ask. I was gonna ask, how do you teach it remotely? Because I feel like it's so difficult to even
Yeah. It's
fix your
frust.
fix your downward dog. I'm sorry. These are just terms that I
Yeah.
know about yoga. I know it's
Yeah. Yeah.
very generic.
It's quite frustrating. We've held off in accepting new students first because
Mm,
it's very hard to try to explain things to you, especially our particular school uses the Sanskrit name. So that's another thing to throw into the mix. No, you got to know what these names are. But otherwise, our longtime students have managed to. The most common thing they say is we've been a lifesaver because
mm,
when you call out the name, okay, they really carve out the time to take a yoga class, and surprisingly attendance has increased because they don't have to deal with traffic and stuff. They can just perch their laptops or their computers in the living room, clear the tables, and do their thing. But we've had to, it's a different. We've had to get used to it. Be more precise. Tell them, because it also develops body knowledge. Like I'm telling you, like JC, move your right foot, and then you move your left. No, I'm talking about the other right foot. So
the
move your
other
right foot. Yeah, do the right foot. Right, right, right. Things like that. So it takes some getting used to, but it's been done. I mean, we've been able to do it. I think that's a blessing. Yeah, it's a
I'm
big
happy to
something to
hear
be
that.
grateful for.
I'm
Yeah,
happy. Yeah, speaking of precision, I mean, when you teach yoga, like you said, you're trying to get your students to be as precise as possible, which is a good segue to me talking about you teaching writing and grammar. I
yes,
mean, writing
yeah,
grammar. Like you said, I mean, you seem to be a stickler for good writing. It has to be good writing. There's people who just don't spell check, and because we try to put it out there without thinking, we
yeah.
make a lot of mistakes. So I'm sure, first of all, you must have some grammar pet peeves that you you really hate. You're- Are
Yeah,
there
I
any in
mean,
particular off the top of your head?
yeah, the classic, timeless,
What
immortal it's and
it?
its and it apostrophe s. Because I keep telling people every time people, you see, the thing is, people see an apostrophe, they already assume it's possessive. Okay,
Okay,
they forget about the idea that there's such a thing called a contraction. When you
right.
when you shorten it is, you contract it, it becomes it's, and the
It.
apostrophe, like for you music guys, did you know that rock and roll, the right
Hmm.
way to write it is rock apostrophe n apostrophe roll, because you remove the a and you remove the d.
Oh,
So
I
your
thought it was just
apostrophe.
after the end.
So it's a no. You remove the apostrophes, take the place of letters. So it apostrophe s is so easy to confuse us.
Mm.
Like when you go to Tagaytay, it's rolling hills. It sounds fine, but if it's it apostrophe, parang if you do it apostrophe s, it looks okay, right? But it's not.
Yeah,
It's its, because
yes.
if you extended it apostrophe s, it is. You go to Tagaytay and look at it is rolling hills.
It is
Parang mali
rolling.
yan.
No, no.
So that's a thing. You got to be you check that way. That's my pet peeve still, no.
Pet
But
peeve, right? So how does I mean how do you besides giving them the rules there must be like teaching grammar and it must be super difficult syntax and all I mean I'm just these words are I have to admit and a lot of my close friends know this when I was studying in when growing up studying I
mm,
was I was not very good at like the words like the
okay,
adjectives and not actually I could not tell you what a pronoun is. And I'm not
okay,
joking.
okay, okay.
Like
It's
I
not
know
a
what a
problem.
noun is
Yeah,
and I kind of
yeah,
know what a
yeah.
verb is, but if you ask me
Okay,
what is an adverb, what is a pronoun, so
yeah, things
people like
like that.
me, Alia, if you were gonna teach people like me who are just not good at this, how
Mhm.
how do you do it? How do you do that?
So just to clarify, the little workshop I gave is a one shot deal. No, it's not a course. So in fact I just call it a style and grammar review. So because it's
You
stuff that it's stuff that I assume people know already. So we go through 2 hours of little stuff like did you know this? Did you know that? We review and you'd be surprised how many people. Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I thought this. I would use that. Ganyan. And then as a clincher to that people can take away because I also send them a handout that they can keep. It's like a give them extra material, and then I give them an assignment. So people have
Mhm.
homework. So they submit to me a short essay that I edit. See, for each individual. So when it comes to them, I have it's full of MS Word to the rescue. All of the suggestions are there, all of the corrections. You can see what I changed or did not change. In fact, I send them 2 copies. One is the thing riddled with corrections, and then the other one I accepted all the corrections so that they see what it looks like. So if you really compare, you can. It's quite clear, and then I explain why I changed this, why I made like
Mhm.
that, why I made like that. So yeah, it's actually a lot of people thought it was pretty helpful, even as a one shot deal. No, yeah.
Do you since it was so successful are you considering making maybe another one in the future or
Oh yeah,
doing a
no.
long term course?
Actually, yeah, no, actually, not a long term because, well, although some people have been clamoring for the next level, so I'm still, I should have actually. I just had one last February. I haven't been able to do another one because I'm working on my other thing on the side. I'm working on a book with a environmental group, so I had to focus on that first. But hopefully by May, and then aside from that, I'm thinking of the next level would be a feature writing workshop. So you can write something longer. It takes a little bit more organization and use of data. So yeah, so maybe that's next level. Some people are asking for a version for kids. Not when I
Yeah.
say kids, high schoolers, no.
Oh,
Yeah, all of this stuff is it's all pandemic plans and stuff because I spend a lot of time now at home. Although I work from the house, but yeah, I'm just finishing this project because it's quite major and detailed. Yeah.
nice. That's really nice. So as someone who I mean, you were just talking about how you edit your I guess would you call them your students or your
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah your
yeah.
students work.
Participants, yeah, workshop participants,
I mean,
yeah.
you've turned editing into a career as well. So
Mhm.
you've been an editor for years now. What is that like editing? Because there's this whole I don't know in on social media. There's a lot of kind of it's very divisive the
Mhm.
term of editing because
Mhm.
it's like you're not being your true self if you post something out there and then you edit it. I don't know if you've seen that online.
Mhm.
Maybe. Oh, how do you feel about like editing nowadays in
Mhm.
terms of the online sphere?
Online, okay, depends on your intention, no? I think if you're out to post something personal, like you wanted to post something on Facebook and you didn't bother to clean it up much, okay, that's real, no? If you have
Right.
I guess if you have a blog and people can handle that, although personally I feel that you have an obligation to your reading public to use the right words, but to at least sound pretty decent. But depends on on who's reading you actually. But I think it's I would really beg people clean it up a little bit, just getting your nouns and your verbs to agree, only because you really want to keep well, for older writers like me, and I say, well, you're using English, you're respecting the language, that's your medium. You don't want to treat it, haphazardly. You don't want to treat it with neglect and and sloppiness. You'd like to be able to present the words nicely, because I guess I'm old school. Just as you would hear a song, and then there's this passage that really makes your gives you goosebumps. If I read a beautiful sentence or a nice phrase, I still get ecstatic. So I don't tire of writing that way. For me, it's both an art and a science. No, but so if editing for professional publication is necessary, because not everybody who has something good to say can say it well. That's my job, to make you sound better. But that being said, there are editors who are heavy-handed. I pride myself in being light-handed. At the end of it, and all of my workshoppers agree, you'll still sound like yourself, but
Nice.
but better.
A little bit better.
Yeah, a
Nice.
little better.
You're just you're like the, I don't know. I was trying to come up with a metaphor or analogy. See, that's the thing. I don't know the difference between a metaphor and analogy. I'm sure you would educate me. I can't think of one on the spot. Anyway, uh,
Okay.
yeah. So as we move on, let's talk about the workshop, the journaling. I
Okay.
think a
Yeah.
lot of our monsters right now are who are tuned in. They're interested in that, because journaling is
Yeah.
something, I don't know how, when journaling was invented. I'm sure it's been in the past, but I throughout the years I've heard the term journaling thrown out by people my age,
Yeah.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
I see it
Yes.
on
Yes. Yes.
the
Yes.
recommendation to clear your mind and get your thoughts together. So let's talk
Okay.
about, first of all, for people who don't know what journaling is. Is it the same
Yes.
as a diary?
Yes, that's the
It's
funny thing. That's why I keep telling people: if you have a kid sister, if you were young once, a young girl once, and a diary is going to be exactly that. I mean, thanks for mentioning Anne Frank, because she's the world's most famous diarist.
yes.
No, and
Mm,
imagine at the time of that. Can you imagine? Yeah, can you imagine at a time like that, the world was going nuts, and she still managed to write down her thoughts and feelings. And
mm,
it's so poignant when you read it, no? Because for those who haven't read it, she was in hiding. They were in danger of being found, and still she got a crush on one of the other guys hiding with them, and it was just so human and so beautifully written. Anyway, so it's that. It's basically that, except that now we're older. You
mm.
would be surprised, my dear, to see that if I tell you that I have all the diaries I've kept since I was in grade school. So I have piles of notebooks. Some of them are Sanrio, and sometimes I look back at them and wonder how far I've come and how my handwriting has changed. So, before the issue was about your crush here and your stuff there, but now,
Mm.
yeah, I like to think it's the more adult version of diary writing, journaling. And now there's also not just to write things down, but admittedly, when you kept a diary and you wrote it down, you felt a little better. You could tell your diary. The diary was always the first one to find out if you were in love or unhappy or what. But now, the goal of
Good.
journaling is the same thing, but you'd like to be able to work it out. You'd like to be able to learn more about yourself and resolve whatever bad stuff you wrote. That's basically that.
Oh, perfect. So
Yeah.
if that's the way it goes, it seems to be a very personal thing, right? It seems to
Yes.
it's very personal. So as somebody who is conducting a workshop, how do you make somebody be themselves? Like, can you, wouldn't that influence things in general? Wouldn't it change who they are if
Okay.
you had some input? Like, how does that work as for you as
Okay.
somebody who is conducting a workshop for journaling?
Okay, let me make the distinction. So I have the style and grammar workshop where I
Yeah.
read what you wrote. Okay.
Okay.
Now, let me qualify, I'm not a therapist, because there is such a thing as journaling therapy. It's actually a legit course in the United States. You can study, it's a branch of psychology, journaling therapists. And in that case, you write and they read. I'm not a therapist, so I don't read your stuff.
No,
I
read.
will.
Okay.
Me is I am a writer, so I know how the writing process goes, and I am a mental illness survivor, so I pretty much know how you're feeling. If you're feeling nuts, I know what it's like to feel nuts or to feel really anxious, no, at this point. So I give pointers through which I've learned both from experience and I've read about some. I took a short little course on journaling therapy. Nothing for a diploma, but just so that it could point things out. No, so I just share this with everybody, just how to do it if you can't start. So while on the other side, I'm a stickler for grammar and spelling. When it comes to this, zero. It does
Zero.
not matter at
Okay.
all
All
whether
right.
you okay. So that get that clear. I don't care if your grammar's all over the place as long as it's
As long
true.
as it's coming from you.
It's honest. It's you. Yeah.
Noted. Noted. Okay. But how does the workshop work then? Like what exactly is your role in this case? In this journal, this free workshop on mental health journaling. What exactly is your role here then?
Okay. I define it basically what it is. I define your goals. I speak a little bit from experience about the thing. So the nice thing there, well, not naman nice, but look, for example, there's a certain procedure to this, which, like you asked if I could, just the most simple is you think of the word right,
Right.
WRITE, and then each one has a certain word. No? It's not original. This came from my readings also. W is what? What are you thinking about? What's top of mind? R is reflect. So you answer that question. You answer that question to yourself. So you gotta sit down and think about it. I is investigate further. After the what, you gotta think why. So you wrote something. What's what? I feel really miserable. You answer it. So what am I feeling today? I feel really, really miserable. So the most important question you can ask is why? Why? Because I miss my friends. Why? Because I can't talk to them. Why? Because talking to them makes me happy. Why? Because I feel alone until you wide yourself so much that you're
Got
down to the most basic reason. No? So that's
it. Yeah.
that's the I. Then T, there's actually a discipline. If you're not the type who journals, you can learn by actually timing yourself. In other words, what we don't want is for an adult to sit down and gaze at the sky for the next 3 hours very unproductively and then not put anything down. No?
Ah.
And we also don't want somebody to write all this stuff out and then suddenly delete the file or rip it up and throw it away. As we see in dramatic stories, you write how much you hate your ex and then you throw it in the trash. That's
Or
not what
burn
an
it.
adult, yeah, or burn it. We've all done that, burn the stuff. But so what you want to do is time yourself and then put down what's important and then you review it. That's the best way to learn about yourself. It's not easy. A lot of people don't know themselves, but journaling is the easiest, most convenient, most cheapest, least expensive. Therapy is expensive, I'm telling you. It's one way to get to know yourself better. So if you practice it, you might find that you can burden on the page or on the screen, and then it will make you feel better. And then you recognize patterns like, oh, I think like that pala, or I go that way pala. So, self-examination. Diba?
Okay.
That's
You do you recommend that the platform that they do this on, or I'm sorry, the media that they do this journaling on really has to be pen and paper? Is that really the only way to journal,
not at
or can
all.
you type it in your notes app on your
Yeah,
phone?
anything, phone, anything. Like right now, I've abandoned the written stuff because nga my handwriting has gotten progressively bad with the years. That's why I wanted to become a doctor first because I had the
Oh, I,
appropriate
I
handwriting.
can relate. My handwriting is,
Okay,
if I could only show you now,
I
it is
know.
not
Do
legible.
you? Yeah. Do you write like Don't you write JC? You write notes and then you forgot what the hell did I write?
Yeah, for sure. I remember that in
Yeah.
college. I couldn't read my own notes. I was like, what the
See,
heck
so
did I
that's why.
write here?
Yeah. So like I have folders on my laptop. I have the name of my, I don't know if I can say it on the air. The name of my folder for breast cancer is wrong bitch. I'm sorry. I called it
No.
wrong bitch. And then
Mm,
and then for my depression, it's just called the depression journal. So I just write it there. It
mm.
not every countable bit, but some people they're madrama, right? They want to make a ritual. They'll put little flowers on their desk, light a candle, be quiet, put their little talismans or what. In fact, we encourage the. I also work with Charmaine Buencamino, the Julia Buencamino Foundation, where they also assist teens who are suicidal. So they do a lot of art journaling. So you can combine, write, stick collage on it, write, doodle, write, write. It's free for all, whatever you like, no. But
Got
put it on a page, or put it on your computer, so it's out there. It's sort of like becomes legit. Meron siyang proof, no.
proof.
Somebody
It's
asked me, can I just record my thoughts? And I go, you know what? It's so ephemeral. You can still just like, why don't you put it down? Some people feel a legitimacy when it's written down, and the affirmation is there.
great.
Yun.
I wanted your opinion on that because I was thinking of the medium of podcasting. For example,
Yes.
myself, I'm not a like I said, my handwriting is awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not really one to type, but I do talk a lot, and I talk about my
Okay.
thoughts in my head. So a
Yeah.
few years ago, I started my own podcast where I was just talking
Okay.
about my life. Is that something in the same vein as journaling, rather?
I would
Just somebody
say,
who talks about their life and
yeah.
publishes it to the world.
Yeah. My thing, JC, is that we had to make a distinction between stuff that you consciously write, knowing you have an audience, in which
Mhm.
case you might self-edit. You might, of course,
Mhm.
you'll always be conscious about what people will say. The
Yes.
journal is only for you, and absolutely only for you, unless you choose to show it to somebody. So you will not censor. If you want to say, I toot the toot, then that's you, You can put
Got it.
fill a whole page with profanity. It's just you, and then that's
Yeah.
for you to work out with yourself. Diba?
I see.
Later
I
on,
see.
yeah. And not
Because
this, not these things where you get likes, and
yes,
you don't want external approval. You have to be enough to affirm yourself. That's what you want
yeah.
to do. Yeah.
You're not doing it for clout. You're not
No,
doing it
I don't know.
for like
That's a
shares.
different animal. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So now that we're talking about, I mean, just on that same note, you said that since this is only the journaling is only for you, no one else will read it. You can
Mm.
write whatever. You can be as offensive as you want.
Yeah.
It seems like there are people in the world who have tweeted or written something or posted something
Yeah.
that was not well received by the general public.
Yes. Yes.
Something that they, as the saying goes, they should have stayed in the drafts, right? That's what they
Yes.
say.
Yeah. Yeah.
As somebody who understands that your inner, a person's mind, if journaling really helps you by putting all these things down, whether it be as negative as it can be,
Mm.
people who post these things maybe inadvertently online or maybe it's just a lapse in judgment.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the cancel culture, knowing that from somebody who can understand that maybe people have
Yeah.
these thoughts in mind?
Yes.
What
Yes.
do you have any thoughts on cancel culture nowadays?
Yeah. My thing is, it's people are quick to, because normally when somebody writes us a strong statement, it's also a reaction to somebody else. No, so it's just a layer upon layer of cancellation. It's like
Mhm.
somebody wrote something, you canceled it, and somebody cancels you, and then somebody cancels that person. So it's like it's all this negativity that's so thickly layered. No, I
Mhm.
would just think that well, I try to make it a point to try to stay positive, unless you really want to call somebody out. And it has to be legit. I read somewhere just brilliant. You got to think a few hundred times before you post something, because the important thing is really that you don't hurt somebody. That's a
Mhm.
basic thing. You can hurt somebody. So I think people who write to be provocative, and can I just want to cite an example of this wasn't written. I mean, as a BTS fan, I just remember it. It went to the top of my head right now. This German DJ who wrote that who said on the air that BTS is a virus and he's hoping for a cure.
Oh
So I
no.
so of course you can imagine, if you posted something like that, can you imagine the repercussions? No,
Oh yeah.
if you want a reaction, fine. If that's what you're in the market for, fine. But it's not going to be that good for you and that good for other, because that's how the station explained it.
Yeah.
That is styled out to provoke people. And sabi ko, well, he provoked them so much that he was afraid to leave this house for a while. But
Oh,
parang feeling ko lang is that there's so much noise already. I suppose I would think twice, unless that's what you're planning to do, provoke, then I'm not here to judge you. But if you're here to try to feel better, get to know yourself better, then don't automatically click post, no, or
Okay.
upload it anywhere. Talagang fix things up with yourself first, because people will again tend to say, "Oh, he wrote that because he's got hang-ups, because he's got things, he hates this." So, and then you expose yourself for scrutiny, which you might not like, di ba? Eh, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
basta patong-patong na yung bad feeling. So,
Yeah.
if that's not your intention, wag na lang. Yeah. Don't na lang.
And I just want to clear the I guess the misconception about dwelling on, let's say, the problems at hand,
Mm.
because the more that I'm just going to use myself as an
Yeah.
example. The more I think about a situation that's
Mm.
bleak, for example, the times that we live in now, the more
Yeah.
it just feels more hopeless and hopeless. By writing it down, does that make it seem more real, or I mean, how is it more therapeutic to write it down than to think about it and not write it down? Do you know? I'm not sure if I'm
Yeah,
phrasing my
yeah, yeah, yeah.
question
I
clearly.
get it. Actually, some therapists that I've read have said that when somebody writes something, it's a physical unloading. It's like I got this big thing that's on my chest, put it
My-
down there, and it's expressed. It's okay, I said it, or you even feel it's externalized. And sometimes I feel some of the workshoppers say that when I wrote it and I walked away and I closed my notebook or I closed my file, I felt a little bit better. But the one of the things you learn when you're under therapy, if you're under, if you have mental illness, you don't want to keep. I may have put it out of me, but the thing is, I shouldn't like really leave it at that. I have to go back there, look at my demons, look at them until they're not scary anymore.
Mhm.
You examine. You have to keep examining a wound if it's going to heal, and then that's when you can move on. No, but otherwise, just putting it somewhere else, external from you, realize you affirm it. That's why I want to clarify. You don't just go to your journal to put out bad stuff. If you feel like today nothing wrong is happening, you're grateful you found a parking space. You're grateful a friend. That's true. Pre-pandemic, no, I would be praying
Yeah.
and praying, and I found you. Thank God. Yes. Yeah. And so parking space. So things like that. It's such a big deal. People have gratitude journals. So you don't have to write just the bad stuff. Write the good stuff, so that when you
Mm.
write it down, you go back to that. No, like you realize, oh, on that day I was just grateful to be alive. I got a nice gift from my friend. So everything is worth looking back on to get to know yourself better. So that's fine. Yeah.
Is that something that close to gratitude? There's something that I've read recently about. It's like gratitude journaling. Is
Yes.
that just like specific track of
Yeah.
journaling? Like just
Yeah.
you say what you're thankful for,
Yeah,
kind of
I
like
do.
that.
I do have friends like that. They have only a gratitude journal. Me, I just think it's too many notebooks. I just put them all together in the same place. And then
Right.
today, and there's nothing that says that if I start, if I start my entry by complaining about, my brother or my sister, that doesn't mean that I can. Oh, incidentally, I'm glad for this. No, that doesn't.
But I
No,
found
there's no.
parking.
Yeah, there's no rule that says that I gotta stay gloomy for this entire entry. No, so it's
Yeah.
not. It's like you can list everything down. Everything is a significant human experience. It's you. It's yours. It's valuable. You learn from it. It's your life, diba?
Mm,
You know
great.
what?
So
Socrates
go ahead.
said. Can I just quote Socrates from my
Ah,
younger days? The unexamined life is not worth living. So stop running. Look at your life. Check it out. I mean, enjoy it. Be proud of the things you're supposed to be proud of, and fix whatever looks really rotten to you. I'm sure by
mm.
now you'll know. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I need to talk to more people like you, because for the long, actually, Socrates. You mentioned Socrates because of the movie Bill and Ted. I don't know if you ever watched Bill and Ted with
Yeah.
Keanu
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes. Dude.
I,
Yeah.
I, I knew him as Socrates for all of my life
See?
until
Yeah.
someone corrected me. So I need to really
Okay.
hang out with more people.
That's okay. I'd rather have honest mistakes. And well, the thing there is, a lot of people write and don't ask. I'm a veteran journalist. I've been interviewing people since the 1990s. I have a little notebook with me. If I talk to somebody who's French or says things, I ask them to write stuff down.
Wow.
It doesn't mean I'm stupid. It means I'm just thorough. So don't assume you know what this guy is talking about. Otherwise, you will look like more of an idiot if you
Yeah.
misspell his name. You talked to him already and you don't know how to spell his name. Dude, maya ka naman, di ba? But, so I say, excuse me. That's why I love calling cards. But otherwise, I said, can you write your name and the proper designation? Because I do not want to misquote you. So I have made that error very few times because I'd say the humility to bring a little notebook around and ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Simple
That's a
as
great tip. And I'm sure it's something that they would learn from your journaling workshop. And we've actually, for those of you who are listening on air on our Facebook Live and on YouTube, we do have the link to the journaling workshop to
Yep.
build mental resilience. So
Yep.
Ali, before we head on out of here, of course, I'd like you
Yeah.
to take the opportunity to invite our monsters. The benefits of this thing and how they can check it out and what's going on
Okay.
for you the next few or the foreseeable future.
Okay. Well, basically just those two, no? One is the style and grammar review. I call it writing first aid because basically it's that. No, it's a quick fix. It's just one session. I'm sorry, but you can check. There's a Facebook page that says writing first aid. If you have a group together, we can do that. I've done offices, I've done friends. And you might be surprised what you learn, no, that you didn't realize. I never knew that. Did you know, JC, there's three kinds of dashes and you use them differently? Oh.
I did not know that. I mean, I know on my keyboard when I type one dash and then I
Yeah.
type another one, it makes it into a longer one. I don't know the
Yeah, which
difference.
which has
To
a
be honest.
difference. There's an N, there's an M, and it, but there's stuff like that. So it's just
And also, I've told this to numerous people. I have never used a semicolon in my whole life.
really. That's I was
Never.
saying.
In all of college, it was always a comma or a period. I
Yeah,
never used a
I was just
semicolon
I just
ever.
posted recently that many people who make a living from writing don't know what the hell to do with a semicolon,
Semicolon.
which can be one of the most versatile punctuation marks
Uh,
you might run into. But anyway, yun. So that one's for style and grammar. I'm going to be a stickler for that. Just look to Facebook page writing first aid. And then the other one is the journaling. I was so upset by how people are feeling bad, not just depressives, not just diagnosed depressives, but people who have been under so much stress and anxiety this time. So I offered it as a free. I've already been offering it free, no? I do it for our yoga groups and people. I'm doing one for schools. And then I realized the general public might not have the time they don't know each other. They won't know how to get a group together. So I recorded it on YouTube, and that's what the link is. So just click it, and then, just watch it. It's 38 minutes. You can pause, you can whatever, share it as much as you like. I don't have any ownership things with this. The only difference is that you can't ask questions. But if you want to drop me a line on my Facebook page, just ask me. But check it out. It's a cheap, inexpensive tool to help you feel better. It's not a cure all. You'll not cure all. You'll not wake up tomorrow and all your problems are gone. But at least you'll find a way to get it out of you because it's heavy. These times are heavy, and we need all the help we can get.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And the last thing, of course, your advocacies for you've been very vocal about being a mental illness survivor, breast cancer survivor. Are there any maybe groups or I'm not sure, charities or something that you're working on, something that you're a part of that you would love to share with our
Yeah.
listeners out there, how they can
For
support?
for the breast cancer group, there's a nonprofit group called I Can Serve. It's nonprofit. It's not for anybody. So anybody who has breast cancer can a breast cancer survivor can join, get a lot of emotional support. And I just can I just drop this here? If you have
Yes.
breast cancer, do not stop getting treated because you're afraid of COVID. I'm sorry, but cancer is scarier, I think, no? So go get treated. Don't sit on especially if you're at court of an advanced case, go get your treatments. Talk to your doctor. Just don't sit on it because you're afraid to go to the hospital. Please, it'll save your life. Don't jeopardize your life. But I Can Serve is also on Facebook. It's on the web. So, yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Alia, for joining us tonight. Do you want to say hello to anybody out there? I'm sure you have
Hi.
fans
Yes.
and your students who are listening.
Oh, just say hi to people who listen. And I was telling JC, if you're still awake, Andrew De Castro, you old man of Philippine radio, otherwise known as North Andrew. of the early RT days. Hello, North Andrew. Unless you're too old to be staying awake. Never mind. Hi. And hi to whoever's listening, but please feel free. Just grab that, share it. It's really important to me that people find a way to feel better during this time. Because I know what it's like to have to feel bad for no reason. But now we all have a reason to feel bad. So let's just hang on and find ways to help ourselves.
Yeah, well, and hopefully when it ends, and I'm sure it's gonna be soon. I'm willing it into existence. We have you
Yes.
back here live. We get to meet in person.
Sure. Yes,
So we
I
hope.
know, JC. Yes,
Uh,
nice meeting
and
you.
yeah, nice meeting you as well. And do you have any other projects that are in coming in the near future besides the
Um,
workshop? You have a book coming out. Do you have a
no, no,
podcast coming out?
the book's very. Yeah, some of the questions Rafi was asking me. The book's kind of technical, so that's not for the general public. You asked me.
Okay.
I think I'm retired from theater work. Because
All
it's
right.
kind of hard to remember all of those scripts, no. But anyway, but I got my hands full. I keep plugging. I have 3 adopted rescue dogs. So, that's a thing. I'm sorry. Can I just push this from pause also? Can I just tell people that when people die and abandon their dogs, don't be afraid to get them and adopt them. They are not contagious. Okay,
Okay.
let's get that clear. Your dogs, they can contract coronavirus, but it's not the same kind. So you just have to grab your dog or cat, give it a bath, and then they're legit again. Honestly, I mean,
Nice.
so SWAS has a campaign for this. So don't when somebody dies, people have been dying, abandoning dogs. People don't want to get their animals. Please, these animals deserve to live. You just have to give them a bath, disinfecting soap, and they're fine. They're not going to make you sick. Please, we were talking about that just the other day. Sorry, there's so many things. Along.
Well, thank you very much, Alia, for joining us tonight. Thank you for being such a source of positivity
Thank
during this,
you.
I guess, this dark time. And see you
Yes,
soon. See you in
yes,
person.
yes, yes,
Yes, and
yeah,
to all the
yeah.
monsters out there, make sure you check out the workshop
Yes,
and check out the video. It's on the link on our Facebook page from this interview, as well as on
yes.
YouTube and on Twitch. And to everyone out there, catch us again next week for more hot conversations here on Heard on Thursdays. My name is JC Tevez. Have a wonderful evening and always keep it locked in right here on The Monster. Good night. Thursdays.